What's up, guys? How are you? Happy Saturday. It is time for another episode of the Daily Juice Podcast with me, Matt Perrault, at Sports Talk Matt, to follow me across all socials. This podcast being brought to you by OmahaSteaks.com. Juice in the search bar. Get you $30 off the already 50% off that's going on right now with their semi-annual sale at OmahaSteaks.com. Promo code JUICE to get $30 off your order. Minimum purchase may be required at OmahaSteaks.com. All right, we were a hook away from a sweep. That stinks. Some of you guys bet the game late. If you bet it late, you got 3. You went 2-0-1. I'm jealous. Congratulations. I lost on the hook. That was frustrating and annoying. But we had the BYU game. If you bet that outright, you got plus 105, plus 110, somewhere on there. So congrats there. I just took the point just in case. BYU won the game outright. Again, that was the right side, the right handicap because of the location. Cincinnati's first Big 12 game, rockin' atmosphere. Home team comes in and wins. I love betting home dogs in college football. More on that later today for this very podcast. We get the under. Never was a problem. Easy under call. Utah on the road at Oregon State. Game was never close to going over. A lot of people were on Oregon State, but a lot of people came back on Utah late, and that turned out to be not the right side there. So Oregon State with the big win there for DJU and company. Okay, 4 bets going for us here today. I'm going to go in the order in which the games are going to be played, and I am going to bank on dogs. If the favorites do well today, I'm going to have a bad day. I'm going with dogs. But before we do dogs, we'll do the first big game of the day, 9 a.m. Pacific time, noon Eastern. It is an early kick in Colorado. All right. This is a 10 a.m. kick. It's a 9 a.m. kick in the morning for USC kids and Colorado kids at 10 o'clock in the morning. Might be a sleepy day for most teams playing. Not this one. Not with USC coming to town, not with Caleb Williams coming to town, not with Fox coming to town, not with all the celebrities and everything else that goes into a Colorado home game in the wake of what happened last week at Oregon. Because the refrain has been from the Colorado apologists, well, that was a road game. It was their first real true road game. They got killed. They didn't have Travis Hunter, so they'll be much better. Well, maybe. I mean, okay, USC's games so far this season, USC has scored 56, 66, 56, and 28. But they've also given up 28, 14, 10, and 28. Their defense is not great. I believe the Buffaloes will score. The question is, how many points will they score? For my bet, I need them to score about 17 points. And you might go, oh, Matt, you're betting the over. Not so much. The over is 72.5, 73 at certain books. It's too high. Now, Matt, just bet the under. No, because USC's already scored 66 points in a game this year against Nevada. Don't you think USC is going to prove a point here? Just like Oregon did last week? Now, I think Oregon would have gone over their team total of 45.5 last week if they had given up more points. But because Colorado couldn't do anything on the road and they looked anemic on offense, there was no need to really fully, they were already embarrassed. They faked a punt. They did their due diligence. They crushed them. But they could have scored 60 if they wanted to. I actually think USC is going to score 60. They're on the road. They're not going to be considered mean or bullying. They're going to do it in front of the Buffalo fans. They're going to try to clear out the whole building. Okay, but I do think the Buffaloes will score, but I don't know how many. Even if they score 20 points, I'm not sold because 50 to 20 is under. Now, it's covering the 22 points, but it's under. I think the easier way to handicap this game is what is the known commodity for USC against what is the known commodity for Colorado. That is a very good offense, one of the best in the country, against a very poor defense. They've given up 45, 14, 43, and 35 and 42 points so far this season. That is really bad. Colorado's defense is not good. They give up 33 points a game. That's 100th in college football. They're facing the 55 points per game averaging USC Trojans, number 1 in college football. I don't want to sweat a fourth quarter, pull up. I don't want to sweat Colorado having to get the game to go over. And I equally don't want to sweat that the Buffalo score some last minute touchdown for the game to go over. And it's a 50-28 type of game and the game goes over. I'm not interested in that. The easier handicap is USC team total. I did not do it last week against Oregon. I am doing it this week for USC. Over 47.5, minus 120, 1.2 units down. USC to score 50 points. Heck, 48 points is good enough. But if they score 42, 6 touchdowns, we need 2 field goals. I think that's really possible. 8 scoring drives for USC. I think it's very, very possible here. I think Caleb Williams will pad his stats, a lot of eyeballs. Caleb Williams can try to win the Heisman here, okay? If he goes for some stupid number, like 400 yards passing and 4 touchdowns, he could win the Heisman. He could make that mark on voters about how good he is right now. This is a huge game for that campaign, for him to become the first player to go back-to-back with the Heisman Trophy since Archie Griffin did it in 1975. And the reason is the Notre Dame game on the road, if the Irish lose to Duke today, that game does not have anywhere near the hype. Not even close. So that's a worry. And then Oregon against USC could be good, but that's the only other game on their schedule. Washington, yes, could be good. That might be a big game, and it might be Michael Penix Jr. against Caleb Williams. That could be the Heisman. Right now, both those guys are leading in the Heisman campaign. It was plus 350 for each guy at the start of the week. But I'm not positive that by November, Washington's going to be relevant. This game is huge for that. Caleb Williams and USC over 47.5 points, team total at minus 120, 1.2 units down. Second bet, Syracuse is hosting Clemson, number 7. Clemson favored by 7. Why is Clemson favored? This is bizarre. They're 1-3 ATS on the year. They have 2 losses. They lost on the road to Duke, and they lost at home to Florida State. How good's Clemson? I don't think they're very good. I mean, they just look like an average football team to me. They have talent. Will Shipley's a really good player, but Cade Klubnik is not anywhere near Trevor Lawrence. He's not anywhere near Deshaun Watson. He's not that caliber of a quarterback. He is still really struggling to move the offense, to move the football. And Syracuse is 3-0-1 ATS on the year. Syracuse beat Colgate and covered, Western Michigan and covered, Purdue and covered. They beat Army and pushed last week at home. Favored by 13. They won by 13 points. I think when you break this game down and you talk about the opportunity for Syracuse to be in this game, it's going to come down to their defense. They're giving up 14.3 points per game. That's 12th best in the country. And you might say, well, Matt, this is a big step up in competition. And I will agree with you on that point. But Clemson runs the ball 4.6 yards per rush. It's not very good. And yes, they've played some really good defenses, but they don't run the ball that well. And passing 6.1 yards per pass play is outside the top 100 in college football. Where is this great offense for Clemson? I don't see it. Now, defensively, Clemson's pretty good. I'm not going to knock that. They have a really good pass defense. They're top 15, top 20 in the country for yards given up per pass play. They're tough to complete a pass against, giving up just 58% of completions on the year. They're tough to convert on third downs. They're one of the better third down defenses, and they take the football away. I mean, they have 2 takeaways per game they're averaging, but they also give up the football 1.7 times per game, and Syracuse takes the football away 2.3 times per game. They are an extremely opportunistic defense. I think Clemson turns the football over. I think Syracuse can win this game outright, but I'm going to take the home dog here. Much like last night, home dog, +7. Syracuse, +7 up against Clemson. Will not shock me in the least if Clemson loses this game outright to Syracuse here in upstate New York. Indoors, dome, weird place. Clemson has struggled. Even with DJU, Clemson struggled to play at Syracuse. Syracuse, +7, 1.1 units. Third bet, Auburn taking on Georgia. Home dog, catching 14.5 points. Number 1, Georgia. Of the 4 bets, this one is more of a gut feel. Okay, and if you don't want to play this and like, Matt, you're stepping in front of Georgia, are you crazy? This is more of a feel. This needs to be a dirty game. Auburn and Georgia is the oldest rivalry in the South. Okay. They play each other every year. They don't like each other. They're separated by only like 200 miles, I believe, from Athens, Georgia to Auburn, Alabama. Only about 200 miles. They're pretty close. They recruit against each other like crazy. Auburn is 1-3 ATS. They just lost on the road to Texas A&M by 17 points. We're buying low here on Auburn. Why? I'm not impressed with Georgia. They're 0-3-1 ATS on the year. They have not covered yet this season. Now, they've been laying 41, 42, 10, and 28. I'll give you that. You might be like, Matt, I mean, these are big numbers. Tennessee, Martin, Ball State, South Carolina. Is Auburn better than South Carolina? I think Auburn is. South Carolina was in the game at Georgia in Athens. In Athens. They were in that game. They had a chance to win that game. I think Auburn's going to hang around here. Now, the UAB last week, okay, they look great. It's UAB. I mean, it's not – people were putting stock in that UAB game. Give me a break. It's UAB between the hedges at Georgia. Come on. Like, they won by 28 points. They were 40-point favorites. They won by 28. They didn't cover, okay? They were supposed to kill UAB, and they did not kill UAB. They won, but they didn't cover them. Georgia's taking on UMass. The last time we were involved with an Auburn game, we took UMass, and UMass got throttled. But they beat Cal by 4 as 5-point favorites. Didn't cover. They won by 32 against Samford at home. Didn't cover. And then last week didn't cover either against Texas A&M. For me, I need this Tigers defense to keep this game close. I also need the Auburn offense not to turn the football over. This is a huge key. They cannot allow Carson Beck to get confident, to have some momentum. Because if you turn the ball over and you pick off Carson Beck early, that kid's got a whole lot of doubt rolling around, okay? He could not beat out Stetson Bennett the last 2 years. He's been hanging around, waiting for his chance. What I've seen, I'm not overly impressed. He's okay, all right? This is the same type of thing I've talked about when it comes to Alabama and their quarterback situation, Ohio State and their quarterback situation. You know, we pushed on Ohio State in Notre Dame last week, fading a quarterback I didn't love. Now, we got Alabama wrong. We got Bama right the week before, so we're 1-1 on that, but same situation here. I don't know if Carson Beck can go on the road to Auburn and win a game by 17 points by himself. Auburn needs to make this game dirty. Auburn's defense needs to play really, really well. Auburn's pass defense is good, and Auburn's pass defense needs to be good here in this game. They did lose one of their safeties in the game against A&M, so that's a little bit of a concern, but just 5.9 yards per pass play given up. That's top 20 in the country, which is really, really good. They got to get after the quarterback. They're in the top 50 in sack percentage. That would be phenomenal if Auburn can go ahead and do that. And Auburn is averaging 2 takeaways a game, which is great. Got to keep that going. Got to take the ball away. They can't give the football away offensively. Auburn gives the ball away 2.5 times per game. That's not good. We cannot have that here today at all. They cannot turn the football over, or 1.3 times per game, not 1.5, 1.3. Can't turn the football over, but they do have a plus margin for turnover margin. Georgia actually gives the ball away more than you would think. It's kind of surprising. Georgia is, they're okay. So to me, I look at this game and I go, rivalry game, huge moment for Auburn. Lost last week. They come back home to face their oldest rival. Georgia wins by 10. I'm going to take the 14.5 points. We might need a backdoor cover on this, maybe a late touchdown to get this done, but I'm taking the points. Auburn plus 14.5 at home against Georgia for 1.1 units. And finally, I'm taking a dog, but it's not a dog at home. It's a dog on the road. Iowa State at Oklahoma. These teams play slobber knocker football games. Oklahoma, when they face Iowa State, they have a hard time moving the football, and they have for a while. This goes back to like when I was covering Iowa State back in like 2011. When Iowa State goes to Norman, Oklahoma, they bring their hard hat, their lunch pail, and they go play defense. They don't allow Oklahoma to go score 50 points on them, generally speaking. Dylan Gabriel, yes, he's in the Heisman Trophy conversation, but I think Iowa State's defense is going to have a lot to say about this football game. I'm really, really curious. Iowa State's defense is giving up 19 points per game. That's top 40 in the country. Oklahoma's defense is really good. They're top 2, but Oklahoma's level of competition hasn't been great. Iowa State, 3.9 yards per rush. That's top 75, but passing is where they shine. Iowa State's pass defense is phenomenal. 5.3 yards per pass play, 8th best in the country. Oklahoma's passing offense, also brilliant. 10.5 yards per pass play, 7th best in the country. Strength on strength. Oklahoma has a really good pass defense as well. Iowa State's got a quarterback that is really unproven. He's going to need to show a lot here on the road. That's going to be a difficult situation for him in my mind on this. But if we're talking about a game that's going to lean towards the under, I don't know how in the world you don't take the dog on this when it's 19.5 points. Now, it was 20 yesterday. Now it's 19.5 points. It's coming down. Hopefully, you guys are going to get 19.5. That's what I got. Freshman quarterback has thrown a touchdown pass in all 4 of his starts, and the offensive line is good for Iowa State. They don't have the skill players. They lost their starting quarterback. They lost their starting running back. They lost a wide receiver, all to this gambling scandal, okay? I'm not saying Iowa State's going in there and winning, but I'm saying the under could very well be in play here. And since the under is in play, we have to take a look at the dog. We have to take a look at Iowa State's potential to cover this spread of 19.5 points. Oklahoma is 4-0 ATS. Okay, I know what I'm getting in front of here. All right. They beat Arkansas State by 73 points. They beat SMU by 17 points. They beat Tulsa by 49 points, and they won last week, laying 13 points against Cincinnati. They won by 14 points. They just covered there on the road against Cincinnati. We just saw the Bearcats lose to BYU. Were you overly impressed with Cincinnati? I wasn't overly impressed. Iowa State's 2-2 ATS. They're coming off of a big win at home against Oklahoma State where their offense got going, which I think is a really big thing to look at here. The fact that they were able to score points last week, get that freshman quarterback some experience, get him to feel better and have some confidence. 34 points scored last week. We're going to need probably 17 points out of Iowa State here, okay? Because I don't think Iowa State gives up more. 31 feels like the top, okay, for what Oklahoma's going to score. So I need 31-17. If we get that, we're covering 19.5 points. 1.1 units, Iowa State on the road, dogged OU, plus 19.5, Iowa State and Oklahoma. All right, 4 bets going for us here on a Saturday. USC team total over 47.5 for 1.2 units. Syracuse plus 7 at home against Clemson for 1.1 units. Auburn plus 14.5 at home against Georgia for 1.1 units. And Iowa State plus 19.5 on the road against Oklahoma for 1.1 units. Like I mentioned, if we see a bunch of covers, a bunch of favorites covering, it's going to be a bad day for me here. But we've had a good run in college football. Let's keep it going here. Hopefully dogs are barking loudly, and let's see a lot of points out of that USC offense early in Colorado here today on a Saturday. Reminder about the live stream that starts Sunday morning at noon Eastern on the BettingPros YouTube channel. Looking forward to seeing you guys there, asking questions, breaking down games, lines, picks, and props, all to come at you for Sunday. Again, college football going well. NFL, not so much. Hopefully a good Saturday and then, a winning Sunday of some sort. But it's not been a great start to the to the NFL season. It's been a phenomenal start to the college football season for us here. Let's keep it going here on a Saturday. My name is Matt Perrault. Follow me across all socials at Sports Talk Matt each and every morning. It is the Daily Juice Podcast, always being brought to you by OmahaSteaks.com.